So I'm sorry for the slightly strange location. I'm in Leeds, and I thought I'd begin today by looking at the contrast between Rachel Reeves and Kemi Badenoch. Rachel Reeves and Kemi Badenoch, two formidable political figures who I don't think are going to go away. So we need to sort of deal with who they are. They represent starkly contrasting visions for Britain's future. One rooted in increasing public investment to stimulate growth, and the other seeking to dismantle what she perceives as an enervating bureaucratic state. It's worth looking at their initiatives in tandem, highlighting the ideological cleavage that they manifest. Reeves, the new Chancellor, has made clear her intent to reverse what she considers the Conservative government's anemic approach to public investment. By leveraging capital spending, she hopes to foster strong, sustainable economic growth, and her announcement of billions in extra spending, likely $24 billion by 2028 to 2029, according to the Institute for Fiscal Studies, represents a significant departure from the fiscal conservatism of her Tory predecessors. In doing so, Reeves channels a Keynesian ethos, using state power to rebuild Britain's infrastructure, particularly in areas like carbon capture, Ed Miliband, and storage. Her strategy seems designed to position Labour as a party of growth and sustainability, dismissing the Conservatives' tendency towards austerity as both outdated and counterproductive. However, while Reeves's rhetoric on boosting investment is robust, the specifics remain curiously elusive, and that's the problem. Her promises sound grand, but without a clear roadmap, she risks a sound and fury signifying little situation. Yet Reeves' strength lies in her approach to borrowing. She's vowed to reform how borrowing for public investment is accounted for, suggesting a new way of measuring fiscal health, which could create budgetary wriggle room worth over £50 billion. In other words, it's a sort of magic trick that she's proposing. If successful, Reeves could unlock new capital while maintaining market confidence, and that's no mean feat. Of course, whether these reforms will be seen as I present them as creative accounting rather than sound economic strategy remains entirely to be seen. Cynically, one might say Reeves is building an invisible house of investment cards, fragile but ambitious, a house on sand. Meanwhile, Kemi Badenoch, or Badenoch's initiative, seeks to address a fundamentally different problem. Badenoch has taken aim at the ever-expanding bureaucratic class, which she views as a creeping threat to British economic dynamism. And her pamphlet, as Robert Shrimpsey describes it in the Financial Times today, paints this bureaucratic class, those pesky HR managers, compliance officers, diversity coordinators, as a lugubrious left-leaning leviathan, stifling innovation and burdening business with repressive regulation. I hope you appreciate all the alliteration. I've just been to see the place where the good old days was done, so I have Leonard Sachs in my mind. Where Reeves wants to build, Badenoch wants to prune, and her solution is a streamlined state. Not a smaller one per se, but one with fewer poisoned pen pushers inhibiting enterprise. I ought to like this, a new bonfire of red tape with a distinctly Thatcherite tinge to Badenoch's argument, echoing the Iron Lady's battle against trade unions. But while Badenoch has updated her narrative for a modern Britain, where safetyism and over-regulation are the culprits, according to Shrimpsey, her rhetoric reaches almost hyperbolic levels, a rhetorical dial routinely turned up to 11. And while there's a kernel of truth in her diagnosis that excessive regulation can indeed smother growth, the lady methinks doth protest too much. If she is so focused on such a simple transformation, why did she do nothing with this when she had the power? So, she faces significant challenges. For one, many of these regulations, especially in the wake of events like the Grenfell tragedy, are seen as necessary by the public, and labour protections, environmental laws and safety standards are not easily discarded. And Badenoch's vision of deregulation risks alienating not just the bureaucratic elite, but large swathes of the electorate who might prefer safer working conditions over deregulated dithering. There is a place to remove bureaucracy, but it's not in the places Badenoch is identifying. I worry that much of this is untargeted rhetoric, wagging the finger at anything that causes frustration while failing to put her thumb on the real problem. The crux of the divide between Reeves and Badenoch lies in their views on the role of the state. And Reeves sees the state as an engine for growth, with capital investment providing the fuel. Badenoch's views, she thinks the state is more of a brake on innovation, one that needs to be released to allow the economy to flourish. And each appeals to a different political and economic instinct. Reeves to the cautious optimism that believes in the power of public investment, Badenoch to the entrepreneurial spirit that thrives when unshackled from red tape. But Badenoch is tainted by her own confession to criminality. Whatever she says must be coloured by that admission. Schrumpf's article aptly captures the philosophical divide. Reeves wants to make Britain better off by strategically deploying capital, while Badenoch wants to make Britain more enterprising by liberating it from its bureaucratic chains. Schrumpf astutely notes that the political unity of Badenoch's framing, attacking the bureaucratic class, gives the Tories a new enemy to rally against, much as Thatcher did with the unions. Yet he cautions Badenoch's combative language risks alienating more than it galvanizes. So Reeves' initiatives embody a return to the politics of public investment with the hope that infrastructure and innovation can deliver growth. It's not exciting, but it might be reassuring. And Badenoch, on the other hand, offers a radical critique of the modern state, seeking to unburden the economy by stripping away the excesses of bureaucracy. Except her targets are all scattergunned and absurd. It remains to be seen where the voters will gravitate towards Reeves's promise of growth through investment or Badenoch's call for a liberated, streamlined state.